terrific. We never knew when we got this stage all put together this year that it was going to take on so many transformations in one day. But it's been graduation and a play and a dance recital this evening, so I think our set's beginning to fall apart behind us, but we'll keep on moving. I'm Sue Pritzker, and I'm the head of school at Childpeace. I want to welcome you to our moving up and out ceremony, sort of. With this group, we are very excited that some of them will be staying in Metro with us, so we don't have to say a complete goodbye, just a congratulations. I wanted to welcome Al and Anna, who are here, our Metro graduates from both go to Central Catholic. Thank you for joining us for the celebration. It's wonderful to see them getting larger. We're also tracking right now our second high school graduate group. We have had the group of children that graduated from our elementary program. It's the second year of high school graduates, so Don and I are trying to make note of where they're all going off to school for the fall. First of all, I want to thank all of you for everything that you have brought to your classmates, and I know it's much and many opportunities that you've taken to do that. And I want to find all the fifth graders out there and hope that each of you will look up here and think of some of the memories that have been given to you by some of the students that are on this stage, because as you become sixth years next year and become the leaders of your classroom, try to remember different ways that they helped you or encouraged you, and they will be your role models. I have two grown children now, and I know that the memories that have been created at this time of your life with the friends, and many of you have been here since you were toddlers, or since you were 3 years old, that these memories are the memories that you're going to have your whole lifetime. These are probably the people that you know right now in this school and that have been your friends, are the people that you're going to rely on your whole life for friendships. I think you'll be surprised that they are the ones that you're going to always be able to go back to and share your dreams with, and your ups and your downs and your good times and your bad. Because you'll never, ever, ever have to prove yourself to anyone in this room. We already know who you are, and we love you for the people that you are. I like to remind that Maria Montessori created a Montessori community for a reason, especially through the elementary years. It was designed by her over 100 years ago, and it was designed specifically to give some opportunities for you that didn't exist in traditional programs, even in her day. And this was a quote from her. "The child who has never learned to work by herself, to set goals for her own acts, or to be the master of her own force of will be recognizable as the adult who lets others guide her and feels a constant need for the approval of others." And what Montessori hoped for was to create an environment that was so designed for what you really needed when you were 6 to 12-year-olds, that you wouldn't need to rely on anyone except for yourself to knowing what were the best decisions that you were making. So now, these adults that are here and know, love, and trust you at Childpeace, all of us, from everyone in the office to Jean in the kitchen, we know what special people you are, and we are going to say to you that we send you off with love and great pride. We hope that you will speak kindly, think boldly, and always live passionately. Congratulations.
Hello, welcome. We'll be moving this microphone around a little bit today. This is a wonderful day for me and for the lives of these young people. Josh, Stephanie, and I are pleased to have reached this milestone with your children or your grandchildren, classmates. Their place is a result of an inspirational educational model, and Dr. Montessori would be very proud of this group of graduates. Throughout their elementary years, they routinely responded in earnest and beautiful ways to the world around them. Their service projects and care for others, near and far, were wonderful to watch. Dr. Montessori pointed out that morality has a practical side that governs social relationships. and a spiritual side that presides over the awakening of a child's conscience. For this group of 9, this is especially true. In a word, I would describe this group as thoughtful. Thoughtful. Some are thoughtful in spiritual and creative ways. Others are driven to make positive changes right now. Their enthusiasm to understand more about the immediate and broader worlds of which they are a part has prepared them to create wonderful responses. This day seems to have come upon us very quickly. They have been working very hard. We should all be proud of them. Their classmates, the younger students who will be returning to the Larch room next year, are certainly very proud of these kids on stage. I asked the younger students this morning to come up with their thoughts of these graduates, and I share some of those with you now. It was Kira's era of leadership. She had poise at all of our class meetings and at all of our biggest school events. Her dry sense of humor and her passion for doing things right was inspiring to all of us. She accomplished so much here at Childpeace, and all the while, we learned so much about the great state of Wisconsin. We watched Noah's confidence grow as he created friendships throughout his elementary years, and he helped anyone in need. His peers know that Noah cares. He's learned the valuable skill of being able to laugh at himself once in a while. And his love of sport is contagious to us all. Abigail, demonstrated persistence and drive, especially when facing tasks shied away by others. She leads by example. We'll always remember her strength and her courage. She is resourceful, responsible, and is best exemplified by her year-long commitment to work. Eli's strength and determination was evident every day. Students remember him always willing to help others in need too. His energy overflows sometimes, and when used for good, he makes everything seem easy. We admire his athleticism, and especially the integrity he brings to his love of competition. Lucas developed his ability to make perceptive observations, and he became a leader. His creative writing skills have been the most impressive. All of us appreciate his talents. He's made us laugh to the point of tears many a time. He's a professional critic at a young age, and he's really good at it. Claire's grace and poise and attention to detail, especially when she's expressing her thoughts, is something we all admire. I've told the class that I once misspelled a word in 1989, and they know I'm kidding, but only Claire would be able to prove it. She has emerging talents in so many areas, but her modesty and her graciousness sometimes holds it all from view. She helps me create a scholarly class atmosphere that we rely on every day. It starts at 8:50 a.m. Ariane's passion and inner strength inspired us all. She could paint or draw or create anything she wanted, and often anything someone else wanted to. She revealed her zany, fun-loving side to her peers, and they loved it. At other times, her peers would need a soft word or even a hug from Ariane. She was characterized by her integrity, and we will always admire her. Griffin and his positive, sing-it-out-loud personality has been wonderful. He's savvy, he's kind, he's creative, and above all, he's mature beyond his years. Never seeking out credit for all the leadership he does, he demonstrated the true definition of empathy at all times. And I'll always remember Carl's passion, his energy, and his kindness. He's extremely funny, say the younger students. I'd like to focus on his dance skills, which cannot be taught, and I think are illegal in some states. Most of all, we will miss Carl's love of learning. This is a life skill that a teacher can't take credit for. Carl was born with it. So we have a great deal to celebrate in the life and success of all of these students. Over the course of 3 years, these students have grown immensely. They've taken on greater and greater responsibilities, enthusiastically leading their classroom. In Costa Rica, I saw a group that was caring, strong-willed, and joyful. They approached each day with open minds, and they didn't shy away from anything. This is also the start of something new and exciting. I want to remind them all to always be true to themselves, and above all, always be kind and respectful of others. Your dynamicism will change the world. But don't forget the lessons of grace and courtesy. Those are some of the best you've received. And remember them, the world will respond to you in kind. We are proud to have worked with these 9 students for the last 3 years, and in many of their cases, 11 of their 12 years have been with Black.
All right, we'll now move on to the student speeches. And I think our first speaker is Eli.
Hello, my name is Eli Reeves, and I'm a graduating 6th year from the Larch. When I first came to Montessori school in 3rd grade, it was a way different experience for me than any of the schools I had attended. On the first day of 3rd grade, I was greeted by my new teachers, Samantha and Eddie, and I was given a tour of the class by Ariane. And even with the help of my new friends, it was the first weeks of school were the hardest weeks of school in my life. But I soon adjusted to the Montessori program, and before I knew it, I was being shown around the Larch room by Liam Fitzpatrick and Alexander Camacho. There, I met my new teachers, Greg and Josh, and they turned out to be 2 of the most fun and creative teachers ever. Quicker than expected, years flew by, and soon I was choosing a 6th year service project. At first, I chose to help the fire department with educating students in fire safety, but after a few months of them not responding, I switched, and I decided to help the No Ivy League remove ivy and other invasive plants from Forest Park. So far, it has been very successful, and I know my mentors a lot for supporting me. As the end of the year drew closer, I had a lot of things on my mind. I had to finish all of my graduation requirements, and most of all, I could not wait for the graduation trip to Costa Rica. Before I knew what was happening, I was done with my requirements, and I was on the plane flying to Houston, Texas to catch our plane to Costa Rica. When we got there on the first day, we met our tour guide Johnny and our driver Andres. John taught us all about the Costa Rican culture, and when we got to the hotel, we found pizza waiting for us on our Irvin's birthday. We had a lot of great experiences in Costa Rica, but I can't share all of them right now. So I'll just sum up some of my favorite experiences we had while we were there. There were times when we had fun and learned at the same time, and there were other times when we learned how lucky we are. The first experience we had in Costa Rica was going to our Latin Spanish school, CPI. There we played games in Spanish such as Guess Who and Bingo. We went to the school every morning for 2 hours, but we always had half an hour to play soccer and other activities for fun. We learned a lot about the culture and a lot more Spanish than we did. Another experience where we learned a lot and had the most fun was our trip to the La Paz Waterfall Gardens. There they had many of Costa Rica's endangered species, such as the jaguar, oxen, scarlet macaw, albino squirrel, toucan, poison dart frogs, tree frogs, and lots of butterflies. They even had a huge collection of dead butterflies and moths and other insects that they had collected. My favorite experience of the whole trip was probably the one that changed me the most, and that was our trip to the slum town of Costa Rica in the Carpia. There, we got to have lunch, take a tour, and teach the kids at the Costa Rican Humanitation Foundation some of the Montessori materials we use at Childpeace. Lucas and I got the pleasure of teaching 2 groups of parents and children the trinomial and binomial cube. They figured out that all the sides connect by the same color. After we gave lessons, they put on a play for us about how a woman named Danielle Fatima had come from Nicaragua to Costa Rica after her husband was killed in the war. Even though it was in Spanish, we could still understand how much the safety of her family had meant to her. My reflections on that day were seeing people of all ages helping others. This instantly reminded me of the Montessori program. I also saw how Gail was helping and supporting everyone there. Everyone seemed to know and to respect her. I also saw how positive everyone was. We saw a whole house that was no bigger than the size of my room, but they didn't seem to mind that it was small. All they cared about was having each other, and that's when I realized that you don't need everything you want to be happy. All you need is your friends, family, and love. My next favorite experience was when we went to a river way out in the skirts of the jungle. It turned out that the river flowed out into the ocean, and it had lots of very cool wild animals, such as crocodiles, scarlet macaws, vultures, Jesus Christ lizards, pelicans, and lots of crabs. Johnny even grabbed a transparent one for us so we could hold it. It felt like 6 mini toothpicks running around on your wrist. Next, my favorite experience of all was when we drove to the top of an active volcano. There, we got to dance with the professional local dancers. Fortunately, the volcano did not erupt. Another good thing, the food was good and we had great views of San Jose and Heredia. On the last day, we went ziplining. Johnny told us that it was called the Canopy Tour. He's called it the Canopy Tour because once you get saddled up, you can no pee. We went on 8 different lines that made up one course. The first three were the easiest and the slowest, and the other ones were more complicated because you could flip upside down and spin if you weren't careful. Even though some of us did flip and spin, none of us were hurt. Last but not least, I would like to thank everyone who has supported me in Costa Rica and in my whole Montessori years. Samantha, Eddie, Greg, Josh, Katie, and Stephanie, and Sue for teaching me everything I know and making this program possible. I would also like to thank my friends at school and at the No Ivy League for being very supportive of me when I needed help. And most importantly, I'd like to thank my parents. I owe them way more than I think I do. If it weren't for them, I would not be standing here right now. Thank you all for supporting me. I owe you all.
Hello, my name is Childpeace. As years went by, I came to fall in love with all the special things that are unique to Montessori. For example, no homework. We are privileged to be able to go home and do whatever we want. Another thing unique to Montessori, we don't have textbooks. Instead, we have materials. The materials are much more effective than textbooks because you can see, feel, and touch whatever you're learning. Some of my favorite moments in the Upper L were Costa Rica, science camps, field day, and our end-of-the-year play. Costa Rica was amazing. We did many things, but going to the shantytown, La Carpia, was humbling for us all. We met a Nicaraguan refugee named Danya Fatima, whose husband died in revolution, and now she teaches a class of 40 students. Coincidentally, that class is a Montessori class. It was amazing to see the children full of love and so much personality. They all hope that things can get better. Of course, we didn't just go to the shantytown. We also went to the La Paz waterfall gardens, which were amazing. We were caught in a tropical rainstorm there. We also went on a canopy tour in a cloud forest, had dinner on a volcano, went to the local marketplace, and took the Childpeace River tour with some crocodiles. We also had Spanish classes at the Central Panamericano de Idiomas every morning. The camps every year was something you look forward to every year in Lower L. Though in Upper L, we got 2 camps every year. I know how very privileged we are. Field day was the other thing to look forward to in Lower L. Upper L always had, and still has, a bunch of fun games for us to play, and then they put on a big performance. I had tons of fun when I was finally able to see what was really going on and be a part of it all. Lower L was lots of fun through the years. Many events happened. My favorite report I remember was my 3rd grade graduation report on an extinct animal called the thylacine. I remember coming into the redwood room a month late because I had not enjoyed my school I was going to. I made a few friends, and I was like any other student there. Coming into 4th grade, I was very nervous. I had no good picture of what it would be like. I also remember that I had lots of trouble with my conferences with Greg. Within a few months till the end of the year, I got a lot better at my conferences. They became much faster and helped me figure out to plan ahead. As days went by, I came to think that Upper L would be the most fun in all my elementary years. 5th grade was a lot easier for me than 4th grade. I remember daily math every day. 5th grade was the year I originally started my lust for science. I watched all the 6ers then doing their experiments for PSC. 6th grade was not what I expected. PSC is harder than it looks, and you can't just get it all done within the first month of school. We also have service projects, which are our way of giving back to the community. My service project was the Terrace. I went down to the Terrace, which is a Childpeace Children's House class in Southeast Portland that also has a retired living facility in the same building. I went to the terrace and did things from games to gardening with the children and residents. In Montessori, I learned many life lessons. For example, how to plan out your day as efficiently as possible. Another thing, when you mess something up so much you have to do it all over, it's not the end of the world. You've got plenty of time to try again, sometimes. There are many more lifelong lessons. You can never ask too many questions. You can create projects and work as detailed and as big as you want. In my 4th grade year, I was sometimes nervous around Greg. Now he will forever be my favorite teacher. Thank you, Greg. I'd also like to thank my parents for pushing me and supporting me all the way through. I would like to thank my parents and other family members for making this possible. I'd like to thank my other teachers like Josh, Tony, Stephanie, Kristen, Katie, Sorrel, Millie, Rob, Carol, Kathy, Shannon, and Ann here at Childpeace for giving me my education. I'd like to thank my friends for helping me learn and often working together. So many people have helped me along the way. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kira Lauersdorf, and I'm a graduating 6th year from the Larch. Childpeace has been an amazing experience for me. Having the freedom to work on whatever you want, wherever you want, with whomever you want, not only allowed me to expand my palette of interests, but also make many friends. Montessori was great for me because everyone is taught at their own level. All throughout my journey, I've taken advantage of that freedom, and it has taught me a lot. My Childpeace journey started when I was 3 years old. I was never low open. Walking back through Children's House today brings back so many memories. From the brown stairs to the reading booklets, I know I'm truly indebted to my teachers, Allison and Teresa. Lower Elementary was another amazing step in my journey. I was in the Redwood Room. During those 3 years of my life, I gained so much. The annual OMSI camps were the icing on the cake for Lower L. Kiwanis was my favorite, and everyone had a blast. One thing that randomly stands out in my memory is the class meeting Talking Rock, which was actually petrified redwood. When I moved into upper elementary, I was excited and ready to try something new. The upper elementary was by far the best 3 years of my experience. In 4th grade, I learned so much that I sometimes thought I would explode. I remember the hardest things were the fraction activity sets and adapting to the new way of writing in our journals. I gained a lot from watching the oldest students that year. I learned most of my leadership skills from them and would never have thought that I could be like them too. The 5th grade experience was laid back, but busy at the same time. I had many lessons, including Spanish. That year, all of my free time was spent writing songs about dishes for the dish committee, which, looking back now, seems really silly and a total waste of time. But that year, we had a lot of fun with it, and I hope the committees can continue adding some pizzazz to the room. The end of the year play was very fun, and I hope it stays that way in future years. Finally, 6th grade. This year, I had so much fun learning with my friends. PSC was also a very fun, yet challenging experience. Being able to test what you know and ask for stuff you don't in a fun way is something very unique. It has been great to teach my peers things they might not know and also to taught myself. In 5th grade, I was informed that PSC is scary and long and hard, but I had a lot of fun with it. Working with my friends throughout the year is a privilege that I am grateful for. I hope future Larchroomers can experience the same sheer awesomeness that I have. The 6th grade trip to Costa Rica was the thing I was looking forward to all year. On the first day, we visited a local market where we saw and tasted many native fruits. We also got to eat at a corner restaurant where I first tried Costa Rican beef stew. And their beef stew is amazing. I would like to take a moment to say that I believe everyone should try Costa Rican beef stew from 3 different restaurants before they can say they've lived. After lunch, we went to the town square and had a scavenger hunt. It was great to use my Spanish in a real-life scenario. On Wednesday, we experienced sadness, hope, cruelty, and inspiration in La Carpio. When we arrived with our arms full of donations, we could see the faces of the women and children light up. Gail, the directress of the foundation, gave us a presentation about people moving to Costa Rica from Nicaragua for better living conditions and opportunities. Then we saw a Spanish play telling us stories. Afterwards, we played with the children. I was paired with a young boy named Derek, and he loved to build things. It was fascinating to see how perfect he built stuff. He placed each block so that the sculpture would be balanced and symmetrical. He He showed me that even in the depths of despair, you can still learn and have fun like everybody else. I left the shantytown happy and deeply inspired. On Friday night, we had dinner on a volcano. After a delicious meal, we got to see live dances from all different parts of Costa Rica. Other things we did were Tuesday's La Paz Waterfall Gardens, Thursday's riverboat tour, Friday's museum, and Saturday's ziplining. Each experience was different from the next, but they were all life-changing. Costa Rica was the greatest way to celebrate graduation. I know that I had a blast and learned a lot. I got to experience the culture, food, history, environment, and beauty of this country, and it was an experience I will never forget. Finally, I'd like to thank everyone who helped me along my journey. I would again like to thank my children's house teachers, Allison and Teresa, even though they're not here. I would like to thank our Costa Rican tour guide, Johnny, for teaching us everything he could about the culture, history, environment, and beauty of Costa Rica. I would like to thank my CPI Spanish professor, Roberto/Bob/Bert/Rob, for helping me improve my Spanish greatly on my trip. We spent a total of 10 hours speaking with a fluent Spanish teacher, and by the end of the trip, we had all improved. I would like to thank Sorrel Ahrens and Millie Lang for teaching me in 1st and 2nd grade, and Rob DeRay and Millie Lang for teaching me in 3rd grade. They taught me reading, writing, and everything in between. This year, we were also helped very much by Stephanie Houston. She has helped us with book discussion groups, going out, journal checking, and much more. I hope that she can continue to encourage students to read and write, just like she has done for me. I would like to thank Ann Boo for subbing in the classrooms and helping on the playground since I was 3 years old. I would also like to thank him a ton for helping me and my friends, even though we got a late start, get the 2012 yearbook off the ground. Without his help, we would probably not have a yearbook this year, so I think I stand with the rest of the upper elementary when I say thank you. I'd like to thank my Spanish teacher, Katie Bear, for helping me enhance my Spanish greatly over my 3 years of upper elementary. In addition to daily lessons, weekly lessons, she also taught me in the after-school Spanish program, which helped me a lot. I will never forget my Costa Rican experience and I have with my friends, and I will never, ever forget how much Katie helped me to get there. I would like to thank Josh Pruitt for helping me with, well, pretty much everything that Greg couldn't. In my 3 years with him, he has given me lessons from block printing to wet felting to blacksmithing. He's also pretty awesome when we play Screaming Viking. He's an amazing and very talented person, and I hope future Larchers can continue to learn all that they can from him, because I know he has a lot to teach. I would like to thank my parents, my brother, and the rest of my family for supporting my decisions and helping me with schoolwork. Besides helping me and answering any questions I've had, they've also given me the privilege of coming to this school and making all the friends I have made and learning everything I know. I would like to thank all of my friends, mainly for being my friends, but also for helping me with PSC and teaching me things when Greg wasn't available. They have been very generous to me, and I am very grateful. I'll be leaving this school with so many memories, and I will remember my friends forever. I would like to thank every student in the upper elementary for making my final year at Childpeace my best one yet. My upper elementary teacher, Gregory Lawrence, has by far done the most for me. He's always treated me kindly and with respect, and has allowed me to lead and explore materials freely. He's taught me so much about leading, teaching, listening, friendships, and math. Lots of math, even when he wasn't trying to. I'll admit he could be scary sometimes, but overall he taught me everything I know. He has let me experience my own judgment and has let me make decisions that, looking back, I probably wouldn't have let myself make. He has helped me find my voice, taught me how to use it, and listen to it when I needed it most. He is my teacher, and for that I am grateful. These are only some of the people that helped me on my journey. I know I am very privileged to have had the opportunities I have had, and I am grateful to everyone who's helped me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ariane Chernin, and I am one of the many 6 years from the Larch Journal. And today I am graduating the 5 years I have been here at Childpeace Montessori School. Right now, I'm standing on the stage thinking about my past years in lower elementary when I was shy, weak, and had little courage as a child. I think about my lower elementary teacher, Samantha. Even though she is gone, I still think about her. She has helped me grow up into this young lady I am now. She opened my eyes. Even though she has left, even my friend, If I didn't have any friends, or if no one had any friends, you wouldn't know how to feel the emotions you have. You wouldn't know whether it was anger, jealousy, or any sadness. That's what my friends have taught me. My family. Well, I can't even think about what my family has helped me, have done for me my whole life. On the other hand, my mother and father supported me with my education and art and helping me become a good student, and most importantly, an independent human being. I would like to thank the people that have helped me and supported me with my Morgan Food Bank Service project. Just in a short little time, we helped so many people in need that aren't as fortunate as us. Being at the school is a very special opportunity that not every child gets to participate in. When I was at my neighborhood public school, Alameda, I did not have all the freedoms that I have here at Montessori. I did not have the freedom to work where I wanted, to choose what I wanted to work on, or any freedoms to go out of school to going out. Here at Childpeace, I get all these freedoms, and we have our own power. The rest of the 6 years and I have recently came back from Costa Rica from a week-long trip that only felt like 2 days. My favorite part of Costa Rica was visiting the shanty town. It was so amazing because just from this small town, all these people were such a huge community, with all their hope and love together. And when I saw how much they cared about each other, it just made me feel so warm and happy and sad. So our friend Johnny, he was our tour guide, and he took us to places around Costa Rica, and if I went to Costa Rica, I wouldn't know where to find these things. The first day we went to a market and we tried lots of different kinds of chocolate fruits that I've never heard of, like phenomenon. And so for a lot of our lunches, we had beef stew, French fries, chicken. The highlight of this trip was also meeting kids in La Caprio. And it was a Montessori school that a woman named Gail started, and the head teacher, that was Fatima, she told us a story about her adventure from Nicaragua coming to Costa Rica. When I heard this, it made me feel so lucky because she had a really hard life, but now she's a woman starting her own school with 40 kids, and she's hoping to make it bigger. And we donated some of our extra school supplies in our closet to the Montessori school. And also there was a woman's husband, and her husband was starting a baseball league for the kids in the shanty town, and we brought our clothes, shoes, bats, baseball helmets, gloves, and everything like that for them to use. And it just made us feel really happy, and they were also really happy too. This trip was such an experience with all the other graduating students, and I hope to go there again. I would like to thank all of the 6 years in the Larch room for really helping me with my 6-year preparations, like PSC, and just making the hardest year fun, and helping me with my service project and more. I would like to thank Greg Lawrence for showing me the parts of math that I couldn't really do, and he showed me how math can be fun at times. Thank you, Josh Pruitt, for doing all sorts of art teachers and you can most relate to me because of our art skills. Thank you for doing all the art projects for me and for the whole classroom. Thank you, Stephanie, for being the teacher that will edit our work, to check in with our researches, go to the library most of the week to get us books for our book reports. Thank you, Katie, there, for being a Spanish teacher for 3 years and for Lower Elementary. And thank you, everyone that's helped me through my life.
Hello, I am Noah Glassman, a 6th year in Larch. I have been a Childpeace Montessori for 9 years, and it's taught me so many things, from academics to life skills. My teacher Stephanie in children's class was always so graceful and taught me how to listen and learn. I have always been a sleeper, and in children's class I would fall asleep on the table. Stephanie had trouble waking me up because she was so graceful in her actions, as she was to everybody else. In children's class, I also made a lot of friends that I still have today, like Everett Brower, Tate Gilgis, and Max Spear. Thank you for always supporting me. We had so many great experiences. In Lower Elementary, my teacher was Samantha. She was very quiet, but gave me a lot of freedom and let me become who I am today. I never really liked to do things by myself, but in Lower Elementary, I learned to do that from experiences and hard work. One afternoon, I was working on the rug, and I had a lesson on the checkerboard. Samantha came over to teach me the lesson, but after she taught it to me, I had forgotten, so I had to work hard and figure it out myself. In Upper Elementary, my teacher was Greg. He trusted me and helped me find out where my strengths were. Greg taught me how to try my best and not take the easy route around work. Greg told me almost everything that I know today. He has been so great. I learned something new every day. In 6th grade, I went in very nervous. I started a service project on the Multiple Sclerosis Society. I chose this because both my mother and grandmother have MS. This year I taught the class about MS and brought in a box that has objects to simulate the disease. One of the objects in the box was goggles. They had tape on the front to show your vision can be blurred with MS. I also gathered donations and took some of my classmates on the MS walk. Finishing PSE has been hard. In PSE, I really learned to like new things, such as earth science, and because it applies to nature and the way the world works. PSE taught me so many things that I learned from experience. Childpeace is so special as a 6th grader because we can get to create the classroom environment in the way that we think is best. This teaches us how to be leaders in our community. At Childpeace, we have the freedom to do things at our own pace. We also can choose our own work. This taught me independence and gave me self-confidence. Whenever I finish work, I feel as though I will remember it for a long time. These are just some of the ways that Childpeace is so special. It's simply a great way to learn. Costa Rica is an exotic place and a great country to explore with my fellow 6th graders. My favorite parts of our trip were the food, the Costa Rican Humanitarian Foundation, and the zip line. In the shanty town while hopping at the foundation, Griffin and I learned from a child named Jamie, who was very bossy but reminded me of a child in our own children's class. He liked to laugh, talk, have fun, and play games. He was very talkative because he didn't know that we barely knew anything he was saying. Even though Jamie lives in the slums of Parkville, he can be as happy as I am at any time. He made me think of how unfair the world can be. With all the urban problems surrounding him, he was still just a beaming, happy, crazy little boy. On another day, we went to the market, which was so different than any other place I had ever been. There were so many crazy fruits, and the sights were around every corner. On that day, we also went on a treasure hunt. It was actually really hard, and we had to use a lot of Spanish. Costa Rica was a great way to finish my upper elementary experience. First, I would like to thank my friends and teachers. I would like to thank Greg, Josh, and Stephanie in the lunchroom for teaching me so much. Thank you, Samantha, Eddie, and Adam in the juniper room for teaching me and preparing me for the next step. Stephanie, you are great in what you do every day, and you helped me become who I am today. Thank you, Katie, for teaching me almost all the Spanish that I know. I would also like to thank my fellow graduates. You have been great friends and throughout my time here. Thank you, Johnny, for showing and teaching us what Costa Rica is all about, and Bert for teaching us Spanish for 2 hours every day. Thank you, Sue, for keeping the school on track. I'd also like to thank my grandpa and Nani for always being there and sharing your opinion. And last but not least, I would like to thank my parents. You are amazing what you do every day. Thanks.
Larch. The Childpeace experience has introduced me to many of my life's most valuable moments that I will carry with me forever. I have been at Childpeace for 6 years, and each and every person I have met here has changed me. All of the teachers who have worked with me have made me the person that I am today. My friends have also been there for me through all the rough times, but also all of the happy times. The people I have met here I will remember for a lifetime. The way they do things in Montessori schools have also changed me. The freedom to work on what you want and to work on it where you want to has given me the purpose to stay on task and the ability to still have fun. My Childpeace journey started in first grade in New York. My first year I had Sorrel Erin, and Sorrel helped me pave the way that has carried me through life thus far. She showed me the right way to do things while being a really great teacher. In second grade, Millie Lang came into our classroom. She was the reason for the starting of my lifelong love for art. Every single day, I would do at least one art project, and I loved it. Every time I would get frustrated with what I was doing, I would watch her and tell myself that one day I will do that. My Lower L experience was amazing. I met a lot of influential people and learned at the time. Although Lower L was amazing, Upper Elementary was by far the best 3 years of my life. For all 3 years, I had the same 2 amazing teachers. I had Josh Pruitt and Gregory Lawrence. In 4th grade, I learned a lot from the 6th graders. They taught me all the things I needed to know that Greg didn't have time to teach me. In 5th grade, I got to teach the 4th graders, but also continue learning from the 6th graders. I learned lots of math and science in 4th grade, but I also learned a lot of different things, so I would be well-rounded and set myself up for the craziness of this last year. We did a lot of new things, and I remember loving Spanish. All 3 years were amazing, but my 6th year experience was by far the best. In 6th grade, not only did we get to go to Costa Rica, but we also had a lot of responsibilities that we hadn't had before. PSC is a big commitment, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. 6th graders before told me it was really hard and they didn't like it, but I really enjoyed it. I had guidelines of what I needed to get done, but I still had many freedoms. I had to track my own time and ask for help when I needed it. Also in 6th grade, Stephanie Houston joined our classroom and became our second teacher, or assistant. She was a big help with lots of different things around the classroom, including grammar. Another big 6th grade commitment is the year-long service project. For my service project, I chose a homeless shelter called PHFS. I chose it because I wanted to help make the world equal. Many people will say that it's just life. I'm sure I'll hear this sometimes, but I don't care. Everyone deserves to have a place to call their own. We can make this happen, but not if we just sit around and want it to happen. We need to take action and make these dreams realities. I went to my service project many times, and each time I brought at least one person with me. I met a lot of amazing people, and also learned a few things. Homeless people are just like any other, and they want to be treated like other people as well. They simply lack a safe place to call their own. Our most recent adventure has been the annual trip to Costa Rica. Each day was an incredible new experience, and every day we did something entirely different than the day before, except for the Spanish lesson each morning. The only time our Spanish teacher would talk to us in English is when she had tried to explain something to us for a while, and we still didn't understand her. The first day we were there, we went to an outdoor market. We had an amazing lunch, and after, had a big scavenger hunt. Our center point was a local park with a church in the middle. We had a 2-block boundary and a list of 5 or 6 things to find and do. It was really fun, but also very challenging because we could only speak in Spanish. I felt like I had learned more Spanish in 1 week than I had in 3 months here, because I was forced to use the Spanish I know to get across what I needed to say. Our second day, we went to the La Paz Waterfall Gardens. As soon as I went through the gate, I saw one of the most beautiful forests. Monkeys, leopards, snakes, frogs, butterflies, and even a turkey. But my favorites were the toucans and hummingbirds. On the third day, we went to the shanty town. This was perhaps my favorite day because it was so eye-opening. We went to a small Montessori school in the middle of a slum town called Carpio. A wonderful woman named Gail started this school and a health clinic to help out those really in need. As we arrived with arms full of Montessori materials, shoes, and sports attire, we saw the little faces light up with happiness. We arrived to an amazing lunch made by the teachers at this beautiful school. Shortly after, we gathered around, and Gail told us about an inspiring woman named Dawn Festa. She used to live in Nicaragua, but moved to La Carpio in desperate need of a change. She lived there with 4 children and a husband. Life was very difficult, but they were making it. And then a few months later, her husband and oldest son were swept up for the Nicaraguan Revolution. A few months later, she received a letter saying that they had both died in the war. Barely over shock, over the shop, she set out to find a job, so with luck she could keep her remaining family alive. These arrangements soon became too strenuous to handle, and she fell into despair. A friend came by and told her that Costa Rica could give her the help she needed. Fatima and her children set out on a 3-day trip through the jungle on foot. She found a small piece of land and built a shack out of 4 small wooden pillars, black plastic wrap, and a cardboard roof. A few years later, she is working at a Montessori school, and all 3 of her children go there. She has very little, but she is happy, and happiness is all she had ever hoped for. Other days, we went on a crocodile boat tours, went to museums, and on the last day, we went ziplining. Ziplining was amazing. We went on 8 different runs, and one we went backwards, and another we went upside down. We were in one of the only cloud forests, and were flying through the air. Costa Rica was an amazing way to finish my childhood experience. I had a ton of fun and learned a lot. We learned about the culture, food, history, and language. Costa Rica was an experience I will never forget. Finally, I would like to thank all the people who had helped me throughout my childhood experience. I would like to thank Sorrel Ahrens and Millie Lang for teaching me in my first and second years, and I would like to thank Rob DeRay and Millie Lang for teaching me in my third year. In all 3 of these years, I began to learn what the childhood experience was all about and how it was different from other schools. I would like to thank my amazing Spanish teacher, Katie Fair. She has taught me so much Spanish and has done it in the best way possible because she made everything fun. She has helped me when I had no idea what I was doing. I was behind everyone else in the class. I would like to thank Josh Pruitt for helping me throughout the last 3 years. He has taught me things from block printing to making sculptures out of wood to with help with a math project. He did everything Red was too busy to help out with. He is an amazing assistant, and I hope that future Larch members will learn just as much from him as I have. I would also like to thank Stephanie Houston for helping me and so many others in our class this year. I hope that when I come back to visit, she will still be here. Next, I would like to thank my parents for supporting me in all my decisions and helping me through all the things I might need. Most of all, I would like to thank them for giving me the opportunity to go to such an amazing place. I would like to thank all of my friends who have come through this experience with me, and all of them who still have more to come. Only they know what it is like here, because they are the only other people seeing this experience from the student point of view. They have helped me through the rough times, and I hope I will keep these friendships forever. Finally, I would like to thank my upper elementary teacher, Gregory Lawrence. He has by far done the most for me. He's taught me many things, and some in addition to academics. He's always treated me with respect. And he has taught me how to listen, how to lead, about friendship, and math, too. He has been someone who listens to me and helps me when I needed it. And he is a really good friend along with it. He has helped me find who I am, taught me how to be, listened to me, gave me feedback, and pushed me on. So to him, I am very grateful. These are just some of the people who have helped me throughout my journey. I know I am very lucky to have this experience, and I'm very thankful to all the people who have made it possible. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lucas Gordon. 4 scores and 3 years ago, I entered the Larch room. Today, I found myself graduating from the elementary cycle, and I'm proud to say I'm confident for what's next. Middle school. Confident. It's a good feeling to have, and Montessori has made that possible. When I entered the elementary, I was nervous. I wasn't very good at math, and I was a little temperamental. Being allowed to make my own choices gives me freedom to explore my mind and do my best. It gives me a chance to expand interests. If I was sitting at a desk in traditional school, I couldn't do that. I've gone from having role models to being one myself. I've never felt confined to school. The work I work on is my own. I've made friends, learned how to relate to people, and received many life lessons. When I entered Lower L, my teacher was Samantha. She gave me a lot of freedom and gave me time to understand subjects, from the simplest things like reading time to something more complex like division. Time and understanding, another Montessori attribute. If you only had one day to finish an essay or report, would it really be your best? Did you really learn anything? I might not have done that well in public school because I'm too used to asking questions and pondering facts. In Lower L, Samantha always found a way of making lessons fun, something that made me more interested and engaged in what she was saying. Nevertheless, the Upper L was really a turning point. I was really completely in charge of myself and was trusted to follow up on all my lessons. It was a big responsibility I wasn't completely ready for, but everybody was supportive, from the 6th years, 5th years, and fellow 4th years to my teachers, Greg Lawrence and Josh Pruitt. Lots of special things in Montessori helped me get comfortable in the upper L. For instance, there are never too many asked questions. As long as they help you learn, you're good and you can ask as many as you want. If you make a mistake, no big deal, you can try again. These things are what make your classroom run smoothly. This is why graduating students remember fondly the experience in elementary at Childpeace Montessori. We have a privilege of having no homework, so that after a busy day at school, all of us can relax and do what we want. Instead of having to work on one thing all day, every day we do a half an hour of reading, and then we can do Spanish, science, basically use all our materials to learn. Personally, I chose to write stories. Some stories with quite a few people alike, and some that I eventually dropped. Among those that made it were The War of the Gnomes, GFPLM, which later had a sequel called DTPLM, Reading Dickens and Murder with Magic, and The Odyssey. Easily forgotten ones, some never presented, were Sherlock Gnomes, Mississippi 5-0, Gnome vs. Predator, and Businesses of War. Freedom to do these stories gave me a lot of joy, knowing that I could do what I want as long as I make progress and did math every day. This served as a driving force. If you're not inspired to do something, then it won't turn out as good. In 6th grade, I and my fellow 6th years were basically in charge of the classroom. Greg taught the lessons and made sure everything was in order, but really it was us who were answering 5th year and 4th year's questions first. This year, there were a lot of things I had to do, but I remembered not to get stressed, and if I wanted to know something, to always ask questions. When PSC, our graduation requirement, was introduced, that is what got me through PSC. PSC took me a lot of time and a lot of lessons, and it tested what I knew and didn't, but I succeeded. All in all, it was a necessary experience. I finished confident that ask any questions on PSC I could answer immediately with no hesitation. 6th years also had the privilege of helping others in our community. These were called service projects. For my service project, I chose Friends of Seasonal and Service Workers. Friends of Seasonal and Service Workers is an organization that gives clothes, food, and other important things to poor immigrants and farm workers that don't have enough of those things. I was able to donate lots of food. On one specific occasion, there was a Thanksgiving packaging work party for the farm workers. I donated pounds upon pounds by getting my fellow 6th years and their families, along with my family, to donate things for the packaging. It was a huge success. I took a group of my classmates with me to package the food and ended up contributing a lot. Another time, I set up a donation drive at Brecken Cafe and raised a lot of food for the spring party they were holding for the farm workers. I've got to say, by far, my favorite experience in the Upper L was Costa Rica. It was the best of the best. Even there, we were given total freedom in another country. We did a bunch of amazing and fun things. We got to zip line across the cloud forest, see amazing animals in the rainforest, go on a crocodile boat tour, go to the market, do a citywide treasure hunt, and best of all, help people. The town was called Larch. Larch is a town of Nicaraguan refugees who escaped the cruel government but don't have any money at all. They built their houses with their bare hands and are very brave, amazing people. Virtually none of them know English. They are starting a Montessori classroom, but the teachers don't have enough materials, so we donated a bunch of ours. We taught them in Spanish how to use them so they can teach the young children. We also had honor meeting Fatima, a Nicaraguan refugee whose husband had died in the revolution. She, with all her children, walked through the fields to Costa Rica and started a classroom in Larch. She runs the most successful classroom there. When you walk in, the first words you see are truth, happiness, love, and hope. It's a really nice thing to see. I left Costa Rica wishing we could stay longer. It was a truly amazing experience for us 6 years, and I feel so lucky that we are at school and we are so privileged to be able to do that. There's not many schools that you go to Costa Rica as a 6th year graduation trip. These are the people who have made my Montessori even better. First, I would like to thank Greg, my teacher. Greg is one of those teachers really in charge of the classroom and makes sure that everything goes well. He's also very fun and knows how to relate to us. You see, we don't refer to him as Mr. Lawrence or Mr. Gregory. We call him Greg because we are not in a stern environment, and he is not only our teacher but a friend also. Greg has helped encourage and made me do my best. He has instilled the confidence in me that I can do anything if I try hard enough. I am also lucky to have Josh Pruitt as his assistant teacher, because even though he may be going through some hard times, he comes in every day and helps inspire us not to get down and keep doing our best no matter what. Of course, my parents have helped me and not let me get stressed. They have both worked with me on math numerous times and helped me understand some schoolwork I didn't understand. I would also like to thank my fellow classmates, 4th, 5th, and sixth years that have been so kind to me and helped me out. I realized that next year I'll be going to middle school. And even though I will still be going to a Montessori middle school metro, the environment will be different. It will be something new to get used to. It might be hard, but I'm confident that I will excel and looking forward to next year. What the speech really is saying in its entirety is that without how everybody has helped me, without all the experiences I've had, I wouldn't be where I am today. And where I am today is when I'm graduating. So thank you.
Hello, I'm Claire Sonicson, and this is my story. My story of the teachers and the students who helped me and taught me to be who I am now. This is my story of Childpeace. I started at Childpeace in first grade. I had just moved to Portland from California less than 3 months before. When I first moved here, I attended the Franciscan Montessori Earth School. After a few months, we realized that Childpeace, even though it was placed in a more urban setting, was a better fit for me. I started out in the Juniper room with Samantha Garbush and Adam Gaia. Samantha was firm at times, but she was also very kind, the sort of person you just knew had your best interests at heart. Adam was so nice and easy to talk to. He would help you out anytime. It was a few months into the school year, and most of the other students were already settled in the class. However, the students and the teachers both put out a great effort to make me feel welcome. One of my best friends, Julia Hapke, was in the class with me, and that made the transition a little easier. Her mom, Bam, Lydia Becker, and I soon became friends also. In second grade, Adam left, and Eddie Toll took his place as assistant teacher. I remember Eddie used to doodle all over his clipboard, and sometimes he would let us draw a few things too. Julia also left in second grade, and Ariane changed during the class. She was shy, but very nice, and we eventually grew to be good friends. Third grade was probably my first year at Childpeace where I felt I really fit in. It was possibly my favorite year in lower elementary. In fourth grade, I started upper elementary. I was assigned to the Larch with Gregory Lawrence and Josh Pruitt. I was a little disappointed because most of my friends had been put in the Hawthorne room. I didn't know very many people in the Larch room, but after just a few weeks in my new class, I loved it. I was so shy, sometimes I had trouble expressing my opinions. But Greg and Josh were so helpful and nice. Josh was very patient and understanding, by far the most artsy person I've ever met. He was always ready to show you some new art project or technique. I definitely learned more in the upper L than in any other years of my education so far. Greg taught me so much, but one of the most important things he taught me was not to be afraid to ask questions. This was probably what helped me the most in school, being able to ask questions, because if you won't ask, no one's ever going to show you the right way to do something. You'll just keep repeating your same mistakes. I would also like to thank him so much for all his encouragement to do my best and to always push my ideas to their farthest. So thank you. I'm really grateful. In fifth grade, I became close friends with Abby Gregory and Kira Lauersdorf. The sixth grade is definitely my favorite year at Childpeace. It was challenging at times, being the leaders of the class, but it's also very satisfying. The public school curriculum may have been one of the more difficult aspects of sixth grade, but it definitely makes you feel confident and ready for middle school. Also in sixth grade, Stephanie Houston joined our class as our second teacher. Stephanie is very nice and always willing to lend a hand. I would especially like to thank my parents for supporting me in all areas and always helping me to pursue my dreams. I don't know where I would be without them. Thank you so much. For my sixth grade service project, I have been focusing on helping those less fortunate than us, the homeless in our community. Every other Friday, I attended, and still do, a homeless dinner at my church, Grace Memorial Episcopal. I help serve and cook for the homeless. The church does not allow in people who are intoxicated or on drugs, and things run smoothly most of the time. These experiences are very memorable for me. It is difficult to watch someone who has so little be deprived of a basic meal. I realize that for these people, in these sorts of situations, life is very complicated. I feel that everyone deserves a fair chance, and these people are no exception. They need help, from their government, from their community, from us. Probably the biggest highlight of my sixth grade year was our trip to Costa Rica. Everyone was so helpful and welcoming when we got there. By the time we arrived, late Sunday night, we were all exhausted. The first thing we noticed when we stepped out of the airport was humidity. The air felt dense and foggy, and everything seemed to smell slightly of fertilizer. We met Johnny, our tour guide, just outside the airport. Johnny was great. He taught us everything we needed to know about Costa Rica, took us to all the best restaurants, and basically had unlimited patience. I would like to thank Johnny for being so funny, kind, and helpful as he took us from place to place. And visiting Costa Rica required a lot of Spanish. So I would like to thank Katie Bayer, who's been my Spanish teacher for the past 3 years. I would like to thank her for not just preparing me for this trip, but for teaching me a piece of an amazing culture. Gracias. In Costa Rica, every morning we would all load onto the tour bus and drive out to CBI, Centro Panamericano de Idiomas. CBI was our Spanish school, set on a beautiful property with a nice soccer field and basketball court, accompanied by foosball and ping pong tables. My Spanish teacher's name was Roberto, and though he didn't speak English very well, he was always very kind and understanding as we tried to figure out what he was saying. He was an amazing teacher, and I learned so much from him. Some of the best parts of our trip for me were CPI, zip lining, the crocodile boat tour, and, of course, our visit to a shantytown. That day, we gave back to the community by volunteering in La Carpio. La Carpio's houses are mostly cardboard shacks and huts made out of tarps. We spent most of our day in a wonderful little Montessori school. An amazing woman named Gail established it and a health clinic for the people of La Carpio. It was great working with all the little kids. They hardly seemed different than the small children in Portland. After lunch, an incredible woman named Doña Fatima and some of the children put on a play about Fatima's journey as a Nicaraguan refugee. It was a remarkable story full of confidence and strength. Then, some of us went to walk around the shantytown and deliver some supplies. We took a tour of one of their houses, and though it was barely a shack, the family was immensely proud of it. These people are proud of how far they have come and how much they have accomplished. I think one of the most important things to hold on to in life is dignity. Without it, the face of poverty can be overwhelming. Dignity allows for confidence, hope, and trust. In La Carpio, I had trouble grasping that this was their everyday. This was how they lived. But I realized that it doesn't matter as much where you live. What's important is the community and the people. That's why I'm so grateful for this community, for building my life and teaching me to have strength, to take pride in my work, and to always have hope. So thank you.
Montessori for 8 years. Montessori is a unique school because we have the ability to move around and learn with materials instead of textbooks or homework. This school has done so much for me ever since I was in my first year with Lynn and Wendy, where I got to work with exciting new materials. My favorite was the pink tower, and every time I see it, it brings back great memories. I would like to thank Lynn for every time I was sad for being there for me. Next, I would like to thank my beloved teacher Claire for teaching me how to be unique and never give up, even when you're all by yourself. Teaching me things like the tone bars and how to write a report, at least one that was acceptable back then. I would like to thank Jen for helping me start a hobby that I love, art. Before I move on to an important step in my life, I would like to express how lucky I am to be in such a great environment like this one. Ever since I was born, I thought I should have everything and always be the center of attention. But as I grew up, I realized that not everyone in the world is as fortunate as we are. We have people who respect and support our wishes. My parents and my sister are always willing to pick me up when I fall and let me start over when I make a mistake. As most of you probably know, the 6 years went on a graduation trip to Costa Rica. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me and my friends. While there, I tried many new things, but one experience shined over all of the rest. This was our trip to the shantytown, where we met an amazing person named Gail. Gail started an organization that does many things. One is helping women who escaped from conditions in Nicaragua to start a new life. She wanted to help these women by watching and teaching their children. She wanted them to get the opportunity to work and earn money for their future. We also had the chance to teach the women at the school how to use the Montessori materials we brought them. After that, we played with the kids and taught them grace and courtesy. This was an eye-opening experience for me and the little boy I got to work with. His name was Jaime. Jaime and I learned from each other. He taught me that something so common for us is precious to others. Also in Costa Rica, we went to some of the most beautiful places. The La Paz Waterfall Garden, dinner on a volcano, going to a local market, and camping through a cloud forest, all incredible experiences that I would have never had gotten through if it wasn't for Katie, who taught me almost all of the Spanish I know, besides what Bert taught me in my Spanish classes we had every morning. Now I will talk about my experience in the Upper L with Greg, Josh, Allison, and Stephanie. When I first got to the Upper L, I heard many stories of it being scary and so hard, but it wasn't. It was just hard to adjust the first couple of weeks. Greg has taught me almost everything I know, and I will never forget that. He helped me with math, reading, and spelling. Not only that, he helped me learn how to present to an audience and be proud of my work. He taught me how to teach others and learn from others. Thank you, Greg. I would also like to thank Josh for helping me continue an interest I have in art, but not only in drawing and things like felting, Sharpie art, and block printing. 5th grade was a fast year, writing songs for the dish committee with all of my friends, my 5th grade play being Wilhelm with my partner in crime, Lucas, working hard to memorize all of our lines and the funniest song and dance, which now I can look back on and laugh. Then 6th grade, going to Costa Rica, getting new life experiences, doing a service project, learning how to be a leader and as the oldest in the class, and working on the yearbook where all of Anne's help was needed, and I would like to thank him for that. Lastly, I would like to thank all of my teachers one last time. I'll also give much thanks to my 2 tutors, Chris and Anne, for helping me get where I am with my reading and spelling skills. Next, I would like to thank all of my fellow graduates for helping me finish PSC and being great friends. I would like to thank Sue Pritzker and Dawn for keeping school in order, and lastly, my family. My sister Elle for helping me when I had no idea what I was doing, and my parents. Without them, I would never be here and doing what I have done today. I'm so glad that I have my parents do what they do for me every day. Thank you.
Thank all of you. Those were really wonderful to hear each and every one of your stories. Well, we'd like to take a moment to acknowledge you both individually and as a group. Our tradition is to offer you a graduation book and a flower and a small little token. So I'll say each of your names. You can come up and get it after you receive the book. You can return to your chair, and we'll take a moment right at the end to acknowledge you as a group. So I might suggest you put your speeches under your chair because we're going to fill your arms there in just a moment. So first of all, Eli Reeves. Graduation challenge to see if you can hold everything we give you and still shake Greg and Suzanne. All right, Noah Glassman. Abby Gregory. Lucas Gordon. Palmer. So this is a moment to get your cameras ready. If you guys want to put your books down for a moment and just hold your flowers, let's bring you up to the front of the stage together as a group one more time. So we'll say a final congratulations to our 2012 Larch Room 6th years. Congratulations.